evening, friends. I'm Pastor Tom Bridger from Cedar Valley Community Church, and this is Quiet Echo, Faith, and the Front Porch. A young woman in our congregation told me something recently that I haven't been able to shake. She said she's not sure she wants to bring children into this world. Now, I've heard that before. Money's tight. Careers are demanding. Life's complicated. But that wasn't her reason. She's afraid the world is ending. She's not alone. I've been reading that more than half of young people around the world carry this same weight. A deep anxiety about the climate, about the future, about whether there's any point in hoping. Researchers call it eco-anxiety. I call it a crisis of the soul dressed in scientific clothing. I want to be careful here. I'm not a climate scientist. I'm not going to tell you what to think about carbon policy or energy mandates or any of that. Smarter people than me disagree about the data, the economics, and the timelines. But I am a pastor. And what I see in that young woman's eyes isn't a policy question. It's despair. And despair is my territory. Here's what I know. Fear that steals your future before it arrives is a thief. Doesn't matter what name it goes by. Doesn't matter whether it comes from headlines or social media or well-meaning activists. If it's robbing you of tomorrow, something has gone badly wrong. There's a passage in Jeremiah that's been on my mind. God is speaking to the Jewish exiles in Babylon, people who had lost everything. Their homeland, their temple, their whole way of life. If anyone had a right to believe the world was ending, it was them. And you know what God tells them? Build houses, plant gardens, get married, have children. Seek the welfare of the city where I've sent you. In other words, live. Not because everything is fine. Not because the problems aren't real. But because faithfulness doesn't wait for certainty. I think about the farmers here in Cedar Valley. Every spring they put seed in ground they can't control. They can't guarantee the rain. They can't stop the hail. They plant anyway. Why? Because planting is what you do when you believe in tomorrow. That's not denial. It's not pretending the risks don't exist. It's refusing to let the risks have the final word. There's a difference between prudent concern and paralyzing fear. One helps you prepare. The other stops you from living. If you're young and you're scared, I want you to hear something from someone who's been around a while. We've been scared before. My generation lived through the Cold War, when nuclear annihilation felt like a real possibility. We've lived through economic collapses, pandemics, wars. There were plenty of times it felt like the world was ending. And here we are. Still building. Still planting. Still bringing children into a world that needs them. Not because we were naive. Because we learned something important. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's refusing to let fear have the last word. This Sunday, we're lighting the candle of joy. Third Sunday of Advent. And I meant what I wrote in the paper this week. There's room on the pew for anyone who needs to remember that light still wins. Thanks for sitting with me today. I'm Pastor Tom Bridger. This has been Quiet Echo, Faith, and the Front Porch.
You've been listening to the Cedar Valley News Podcast, where small-town voices meet the headlines shaping our world. From faith and family to front porches and fields. We'll be back with more stories connecting real lives to real events. Until next time, keep your porch light on, your faith strong, and your heart open.